Hello and welcome back to our podcast. We're back in the room. My name is Chris. This is Eric.
How you doing?
And Adam.
Hello.
My brothers. And that's not like a gang thing. It's my bros. We are actually biologically related. So, one of the things you'll probably notice as you're listening to us is not only that we have the same interests in a lot of similar games.
We have the same voice.
I was about to say we have like the exact same voice. So you're probably going, well, this is class. There's 3 to 1 person talking to me. But that is the reason why we are actually brothers. We grew up together playing games.
So we saying the same?
Oh yeah, as well. we were actually all born with the same voice box. So you will notice similarities in probably our interests because we grew up together playing games. It was one of the hobbies that we all shared. So last episode we looked at our favourite games from 2010. At the moment we're looking back on the last decade since we've started a new one. And for this episode we're going to be looking at our favourite games from 2011, which was actually, when I looked back, a really good year for games.
Very good year.
Yeah, I thought so.
It was like the tyre of years for games.
Yeah,
good year.
Yeah, it was. What?
The brand of tyre.
It is.
That was a tyre joke.
Okay. What the fuck is a tyre? What are you talking about?
A tyre for a car.
It was the tyre. What are you talking about?
For a car.
Tires for a car.
Yeah, but tyres have a brand. Companies make tyres.
Holy shit. It was the tyre of video game years.
It was a good year.
What does that even mean? That's ridiculous. Oh god. This episode's going really well. Oh, fuck. The tyre of video game years.
Yeah.
You'll have to explain it. I
actually did. There was nothing really to explain.
No, but like... Okay,
it's a brand of tyre called Goodyear.
Yeah. Oh,
so it was a good year.
Oh, right, yeah. That's actually a really clever joke.
Yes, thank you.
I didn't get that at all.
No, we didn't.
No, because, I was just like... It was like the cup of video games. I was like, what are you talking about? You know, like a cup of tea. Like, I just thought you were just naming something like a car couldn't go anywhere without a tyre, and video games couldn't go anywhere without 2011. I thought that's where you were getting at. Like, I had no idea what you were talking about.
No, but you were close there. Probably games couldn't really get anywhere without 2011.
No, they could. Yeah, because actually, there was a lot of big games that came out that year that kind of pushed the industry forward, I thought. So, will we jump straight into it?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. Well, I'm talking an awful lot. So I'd like to go opposite end of the table and come back to me because I don't have to hear my own voice too much. So, Adam, we'll start with you. Favorite game of 2011, or should we all just go 3, 2, 1 and say? Yeah. I have a sneaking suspicion that we probably I know we've kind of already talked about some of the games and seen lists and things, but we didn't really say whose was the top one, or I have a feling we all probably have the same one. So 3, 2, 1, Skyrim. I'm gonna wait for the group consensus. Well, actually, if we all speak at the same time, it's like one voice echoing.
On Skyrim.
On Skyrim 3. Is it Skyrim?
Skyrim. Yeah, Elder Scrolls 5.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I had no intro. I've never played Morrowind because we never had an Xbox.
No, we didn't play Morrowind.
Played Oblivion, but couldn't get past the jankiness of it. Like an incredible game. Like it is incredible.
Oblivion's really good.
It doesn't matter what you do. The character that you created
Yeah.
looks like a baby
Yeah.
in an adult's body. It just never.
Yeah,
looks
if you're going to
good.
talk to anyone, it's going to zoom right up on their face.
Yeah.
It's going to like pull you in.
Now I know, like a lot of people actually played that game in first person as it should be played, but I can't do that. I just if it's an action adventure RPG or whatever, I prefer it to be third person. I prefer to have the camera out looking at my character.
Yeah.
And if I don't like my character, then it's hard to look at. So
That's true,
I
yeah.
get behind
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of times I started Oblivion again and
I think
again.
you
and again.
restarted Oblivion like easily 20 times.
Yep.
Easily.
Never
Because
cleared
you'd get to a certain point and you'd go, I don't like my character, I'm going to restart this.
Yeah.
And it's the same experience, pretty much from the start onwards. I always thought it was funny that like your cell happens to be the cell that they need to go through, and then like I know it's fantasy escapism and stuff, and then you is like you're the one from my dreams.
yeah,
Like,
well that's only because
straight away.
yeah, because it's not an Elder Scrolls game unless you start off as a prisoner.
Yeah, and I actually love that because it's like fantasy criminal.
I
Well,
really
no,
like
it just gives you a clean slate.
Yeah,
It never
it's-
tells you why you're in there, and you can come up with that story
That
yourself.
little backstory, and then but from then on, yeah, you're launched as like a new life.
I think Skyrim gives you even more kind of freedom the way that starts, because you're not exactly a prisoner in a cell. You're just being brought to an execution because of the rebellion
Well, as
happening.
well
in Skyrim.
from the get go, you end up with two factions
Yeah, decide
who
from
both help you at the start, and then you choose which one you'd like to side with. So
Yeah, I
you're
don't
not
like how that's
necessarily
done personally,
okay.
only because it's the Imperials that are killing you at the start, or at least are going to kill you.
Yeah, I mean it
So
kind of
you
is
kind
pointing
of-
towards that you would join the Stormcloaks.
Yeah, but then the way you kind of get jumbled because it's so chaotic, and it's like you can go with one or the other. If you don't really pay attention, you can just kind of follow the arrow, and there you are. You're after kind of aligning yourself with one of them. like
Yeah.
And I really don't like how that's done.
Well, I remember trying to join the two of them in my first playthrough. I went to both
Oh yeah.
because I thought wouldn't it be really cool if I was like just in my own head. Obviously, I wouldn't play it in the game, but I was like, if I was like, you know, a spy that
Double
had
agent.
infiltrated both organizations, or you can't join both, but you can go and talk to both and get the starter mission from both. But once you do the starter mission, you're then committed. So when that happened, I was like, story-wise, it kind of makes more sense to join the Stormcloaks because the Imperials have kind of invaded, and I was playing as a Nord. I was like, this is my homeland, and you're gonna find out I'm the Dragonborn. Like, this is like, you know, kind of you have a heritage there. But when you get your two missions, the Imperial mission is a lot more enticing than looking for a fucking ice raid, which is the Stormcloaks entry mission.
What was
You have to go find some. I can't remember what it was, but it was definitely, it was like kill a person.
Like
as
I definitely went
opposed
to Imperials, and it was only because like I'm the Dragonborn, so I felt like there's a
larger duty.
well, no, there's a isn't it one of the emperors is a Dragonborn?
the first Emperor Tiber Septim.
Yeah, so
That's right.
therefore,
Possibly, yeah, it
I
was
felt like there
Dragonborn.
would be like, although you're maybe Nord, but your bloodline could possibly be Imperial.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's how I kind of looked at it and why I went the Imperial route.
Wasn't that's why the dragon is their symbol as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was call back to the whole Dragonborn thing.
And then also on the Blades helmet, I found was really cool was that on the top of it is a dragon as well, like the skeleton of a dragon, because they used to hunt and kill them.
Oh, I kind of didn't notice that.
Yeah, no, it's
That's
there.
really cool.
Yeah, Blades are cool.
But it's fairly like I mean, Skyrim's the first time, or it's the time when Elder Scrolls went really mainstream. Like it kind of started. It did start to take away some of the choices you could have in like Morrowind and Oblivion.
Yeah, like I know a lot of people who prefer Oblivion as a game.
Yeah,
But-
just because it's a more of a playground. But
Yeah.
Skyrim, I feel it's a well crafted experience.
Yeah,
like there's still
alright.
choice, but it's like there is a main story path. Graphics are obviously better. The gameplay plays better. The world feels
More
a lot.
alive.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot more detail in it.
Skyrim is my favorite open world of any game I've ever played.
Of all time.
Yeah, it's my favorite open world because there's
I'd probably say the
always
same.
something else around the corner. There's like, and as well, like the side quests aspect is, I personally haven't played a game with better side quests. For me, because some of the like bigger side quests are as good or as epic in scale as the main story.
Yeah, well, it always
you can
it's
get
like
as involved in them.
they snowball. Like I mean, they start off like a small
They're
thing.
small, yeah, and they get bigger and bigger. And
They
you're
get
like,
bigger and
this is like a TV show, and season 1 is the Dark Brotherhood, but season 2 is the Thieves Guild, and it's
Yeah.
just awesome. And there's fuck all like there are a couple of little small, like it's harder to find the small side quests, like the small little like fetch quests kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, I just think of the one that always comes to mind is the one, you know, when you get pissed, you get pissed drunk,
Yeah.
and then you have to try and like follow your tracks back to.
Oh right, yeah.
So
Tell you
you
did that
stole a
night.
goat or something. Sorry.
Huh?
You punch someone, you attack someone, someone's in. Or
Yeah,
something like that.
you attack someone in the inn.
Yeah.
You get married to a hag raven.
That was it.
Yeah.
What a wild night.
You stole someone's goat, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
And
it
then you
was
started
it not a
Goat
goat
Simulator.
by you stole one off of a giant, no? Or no, you have to get it back from a giant. You sold it to a giant.
Oh, you sold it to the giant, did you?
I think so. I can't remember.
I
I
would
just remember there
definitely-
being a giant involved.
I would leave that giant alone. That
But I
giant
just
can
love
have
that one
goat.
because you're like you're thrown in, and it's like everyone's telling you all these things, and you're like, "What? Did I?"
Yeah, this all right, nuts. I just love that like you could do the smallest thing and suddenly you're launched into a side quest that you didn't even expect to happen.
Yeah.
And then suddenly your journal is just filled with different things you can do. And you're never like, oh no, I'm just gonna push out the main plot because all this other side stuff is just nonsense side on that's just been added on to bulk up the game. You're actually like, I want to do that, and I really want to do that, and I also want to do that, and you actually do get lost in doing like loads of things, and the exploring of the world is done through it, it's just I don't think any open world game has done what Skyrim has done so well as well, like in the music and everything as well, like the design of
like
the different locations.
It has the quality that, like, when you first watch like Lord of the Rings, like that's the quality.
That's
it has.
what it's like.
It's got
Yeah.
this
It's
huge
like-
world that feels right. The music represents the cultures perfectly. The design of the characters look great, because that's one thing I have a problem with a few like modern open world games where they put a lot of detail into how people look and the area that they're from, just to kind of distinguish the cultures.
Yeah.
But sometimes they end up looking like really similar, or they have a similar silhouette, so you
Alright.
can't tell the cultures apart.
Yeah,
Where Skyrim has done a really good job because they're so limited by like they can't do too much detail because the hardware wasn't there, the game engine wasn't there to do that. But they have enough there to kind of say those are Stormcloaks, those are Imperials, and those are Khajiit, and those are whatever. Like they're from the Mages Guild, these are from the Thieves Guild. Like you can
Yeah.
tell them straight away.
But I even love the Forsworn.
Yeah,
Look awesome.
Yeah,
And it's like, because one of the things is when coming up to another Elder Scrolls game, where you could get worried is if it's based in one region, surely it's not going to be diverse enough. You know, like Skyrim isn't a whole, like it's part of a world. It's not a world on its own.
yeah.
And yet it is really diverse in terms of its cultures. It's like the different towns have different architecture. There's the amount of lore in that game is unbelievable. Like,
Yeah, like
you
it-
could spend the game reading.
What I love is that there's, like it. I think it's the latest in this, not just in the series, but in terms of the chronological timeline as well, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
there's
it
a
is,
lot of history there that you can dig through, like
Yeah.
what happened to the dwarves,
Oh, it's so cool.
like, and that they have this really advanced technology that no one else has managed to use or figure out.
The-
They managed to figure it out, and they're all
Yeah.
dead.
The moment I was fighting robots, I was like, "This game is fucking everything." Like I say, there's dragons and giants and spiders and robots and
my.
zombies. The Draugr are awesome.
Draugr are very good, yeah.
Yeah, and even the Draugr priests with the masks.
Yeah, the dragon
remember when you
racer.
collect all of them?
Yeah, it's cool.
I actually have still never collected all of them yet.
I find that it's odd that that's another game that I've platinumed because I just fucking love it so
Yeah.
much. But that's
Soon the Goat
not
Simulator.
that's not a trophy to get all them.
Yeah, I noticed that. It was
Odd.
really weird.
Yeah, That's really weird. Out of all the things to be a trophy, that would seem like it.
Yeah, that is really weird. Yeah, because I definitely haven't gotten all of them.
Ever. But I think it's so cool, the idea of like the dragon's language as well. Like the company went to the effort of making an entire language for the species, and that each word is power.
Yeah,
speaking it, and it's
so whole.
Yeah. But even like because the games that were out at the time, there could have been dragons in them, but the idea of having these AI essentially, dragons that can do whatever they want, and at any point could intercept you, and it's like
just fly down and fight you.
You could be really underpowered, and it's just the game isn't really balanced.
No,
it's not like, oh, you're this level, therefore you can take on this dragon.
You can get totally fucked over really early on if you're not ready. Yeah.
So how you approach that dragon is going to really, really change. You may try to run and hide, or you might try to take it out, but you'd have to use certain tactics to do that.
Yeah.
And then the more you kill, the more powerful you become. And then obviously there's that quest that really for the blades, where you're kind of, should I or shouldn't I kill this particular dragon?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think as well it handled. I think like the notion of a talking dragon became very silly and comedic over a long time. Particularly like it was dragons were always kind of more monstrous, and then they might be shown to be talking in like children's things. So the notion of dragons talking to you and actually giving you some of the lore, or appearing scary, or even like a dragon being the main villain, like you've just come from Oblivion, so like
where you fought like a devil.
Yeah, like essentially they're the denizens of hell itself, and you're going, dragons is the main enemies, really? Like this seems like a step back, or it seems smaller, like that's like a wild creature. And just the way they tackled the dragons in this game, like revolutionized dragons, really. Like
it's definitely got broken elements. I remember playing it, and like there's dragons flying backwards and then disappearing. And
there's glitches galore. Yeah.
But for some reason, that's just part of its charm.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of people who like to make videos on those things, like, is just part of it, or like people falling through the floor, or just weird shit that goes on in the Elder Scrolls games. Yeah,
like I don't think anything, because there's a lot of games where if it glitches out on you, you get pissed off. But Skyrim's one of those games where it just makes it funnier.
Yeah, you just laugh it off.
But it is definitely it had such an impact, because to this day it's still being re-released on platforms.
I still play it.
Like I don't know how many plays. Skyrim. So I have if I want to play it obviously a PC is probably the best place to play it, because you have
realistically for that one with all the mods and
there's because it is primarily first person using the mouse, I couldn't really be an archer on console. It's too difficult.
Yeah.
The people coming at you are too quick, and your reticle can't move quick enough with the analog sticks. So that works well on PC, and you have access to mods. On console, you now have mods. So that works. You can have that if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want to play it on the go, it's on the Switch.
Yeah. They have it everywhere.
And if you want to play it in VR...
It's on VR,
It's on PSVR.
It's everywhere. I know you have it on VR. I can't imagine playing the whole game in VR.
Played a good bit of it. That's the first time I've played as an archer. Because the beauty of...
It probably worked really well in VR.
Yeah, because the beauty of it is that it's kind of a cheat, I guess, because on any other platform you have to do up your archery skill to draw quicker and shoot quicker.
Yeah.
But because it's VR, it moves as fast as you can draw a bow. And it's a lot of fun. You're like fucking legless running around the place.
You're obviously not legless running around the place, but you're...
No, you are legless running around the place. If you look down, you have no legs.
Yeah. Actually, that's true in a VR, you're just two floating hands.
Yeah, or sometimes there is no hands.
I suppose VR, you definitely cannot see. Do you even get to make your character?
Yeah, you actually do.
Is there a point in that?
No.
But I suppose they just didn't edit that
because
out,
you
can never see yourself.
You can't go into third person.
Yeah, exactly. How do you guys play Skyrim normally? Would you play third person or first person?
I have become more accustomed to first person recently, because it's just way easier to search like the drug or denizen areas.
Yeah, I'm actually I tend to if I'm in the open world exploring, I'm in third person because you have that peripheral vision. You see, first person games, I know a lot of people say first person is the way to go, like, but first person you can't have that peripheral that we have in reality.
Yeah.
But third person allows for that.
Yeah.
You know, because if you can't see it, like, you're still aware of it.
Yeah, I suppose the only thing where someone might say, well, third person isn't realistic is you wouldn't be able to see what's behind you.
No, but you can hear.
You can sense it.
You can sense
it. You could hear
exactly.
it and sense it, and that's something that, unless they get like what they call it, binaural 3D audio, basically.
It didn't start with a bi at all.
No, it is. It's binaural or something like that.
I don't know.
But it is essentially 3D audio. Once they have that like nailed down, like the first person's never going to give you that peripheral thing. But if I go into dungeons, then I go into first person.
I do the same thing. And I think it's because you're looking for, well, particularly when you get to those doors with the
dragon claws and the symbols and everything.
Yeah. And you're like, I really need to be able to see what the or you're looking for those switches.
Or
there's
the
like
fucking traps
switches
on the
around,
ground.
the traps are, yeah. So I think in the dungeons, and plus it kind of makes you feel closed in or trapped in down in a dungeon. In the open world, I definitely play in third person because I like to see my character and see them roam around the world.
And same with combat, like I tend to pop back into third person
Yeah,
because
I think it's more enjoyable that way.
You can swing around you rather than like just what's in front of you.
Does anyone else go for two-handed weapons? I'm a sucker for
like
big
an axe
broadswords. Yeah. No, I like the big long swords.
I actually most ways that I've ever played has been sword in one hand,
magic in the other, right?
and then fire in the other. Yeah. And then you swap it out for healing every now and then.
Yeah.
Like it did kind of.
I do the healing like after a fight. I fight and then I heal up, but I just love swinging around.
Yeah, so sometimes I have to heal mid battle because some of them are just, especially those dragon priests can get tough.
Yeah. What would you use?
Yes,
all of that.
All of them. I actually do use all of them. I actually do use bows sometimes. And I find when you get those really good shots, like I know there's a mine at the start of the game that you can go into just for the crack. And there's a bunch of bandits in there. And I just do target practice on them. I just start shooting them, killing them. And I go into the big open cave area at the end. And there's like this bridge going across. And then I'd be on one end, they're on the bridge. And I'm just in the dark shooting them. And you just get that cinematic of going in between their eyes, like Legolas down in Moria or something. It's class.
Cool. Yeah, I was never good at the bow. What's the name? Because you reminded me when you said mine. What is the name of that mine prison again? From Mark Art, is it? Sidna Mine?
Sidna Mine, yeah.
Is that the name of it?
My character was in there the other day,
Yeah. Okay, because I went through all these, when I was playing Skyrim, I wanted to see all the different outcomes of doing different things, right? So I actually was imprisoned there. And what I mean by that is, I got there for doing a crime. You're supposed to go up and talk to the guard, and it says, "Are you ready to serve your time?" And you say yes, and then you get out. I said no. Right? And I went around physically mining to see what would happen if I mined the shit out of this place. Then what are my options, right? Because surely there has to be some way out, always. I mined it, and that was it, right? There was nothing left to mine, and he wouldn't give me the option to serve my time. And so my character was trapped in prison with no way out. And the only thing I could do eventually, and I kept trying all these different things, and I was like, there must be another way out of here. I know, and I hadn't got to that mission yet. I was like, I know that there's a mission where breaking out of here is so there must be a way out. And I was like, but that's not activated yet, so I can't do it. So I had to actually kill the prison guard, but kill him close to the door, with my magic, because I had no weapons. So I had to use just my magic. And so I had to use it and then run away because he would run away, and I couldn't do it if he was too far away from the door because I needed to be able to reach his key.
Oh yeah,
to open the fucking door. He didn't have a key. I had to load up a thing because you can't get out of that prison if you do your time. So if you physically do your time, you are trapped. Basically, if he says, "Are you ready to serve your time?" just say yes, and you get out. I had to load up a different save to get out.
They mustn't have QA'd that.
Yeah, it was like, because I haven't heard of anyone else do that, but I was just curious as to what happens.
Much of an idiot.
Yeah, and then I was really determined. I was like, I'm going to be the person who breaks out of this prison. And I did not know about the mission that comes up later. So, because I was going to brag to people, like, I broke out of Sin the Mine, which everyone says you can't break out of. And there's a story mode where you break out of Sin the Mine. Because it's the
really easily, actually. You break out of it. You just go up, talk to a guy.
Yeah,
he's
much
like,
fucking easier than what I try to do.
Yeah, you just go up and talk to the crime boss in there, and he's like, okay, grand. Do you want to just kill that chap over there? Go kill that chap. Okay, we'll leave now.
Like a shiv.
And yeah. You just get up and walk out the door.
You want to know something funny? That crime boss isn't there if you physically serve your time. He's only there if you activate the mission.
I ended up killing him at the end, accidentally.
Yeah?
Yeah, they all turned on me for some reason. I was like, alright, well, you're all dead then.
That is one thing that, like, if you accidentally do something, like if you push the wrong button, like if you push a spell button by accident in a town, the whole region is after you. Like, it's just like, even villagers chasing you.
Yeah, there you go. Pay up 1,000.
That's...
But, I love that. You got that, Eric, for your birthday, I think, wasn't it?
On PS3.
Special edition for your birthday. So we played it on the PS3, which is supposedly the most broken version you can play.
Yeah, I still loved it.
And I got through it, no bother.
No problem. Yeah.
Like there was
got
small
very
glitches.
Yeah, I saw very few issues.
But I remember that reviewed not well on PS3, just because it was considered so broken that they shouldn't have shipped it.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought it was fine.
But
well, most people play it on 360.
Did they really?
Yeah, of course they did.
Yeah, 360 did better than PS3, so most people would play that.
Oh, not in my circles. Although 360 is.
I mean, out of my friends, we all played it on PS3.
Yeah.
I'm talking worldwide.
Oh, I'm talking about my friends. They all had 360.
Did they really?
Yeah, I was the odd one out. I have to try to defend it, but they're all coming at me. I was like, back off.
And then you were like, you're kind of right. 360 was a good console.
It was a good console, but it didn't have the right technology, or you had to.
Personally, yeah.
No, like physically, it outsold the Xbox 360.
It boxed it. The two consoles were
like
in a ring.
Fairly head to head, but PS3 outsold Xbox 360 at the end of it.
Sick that. Does that make it a better console? I think it's a better console, but does it make it a better one? Just if it outsells it?
Well, you see, the only reason
what you're looking for.
I don't know how we're getting into this conversation.
Just on a side note, like I suppose PlayStation generally has more exclusives than Xbox has some, but PlayStation would have more exclusives. So I wonder if a lot of people would buy it purely to have those options.
Yeah, I mean, like the Xbox 360 only really had the advantage because it was way cheaper. We're talking nearly 200 quid cheaper.
Yeah.
And it launched with better games. Like within its first few years, it had way better games than the PS3 did.
Okay.
It really wasn't because, like, you could say, PS3 very early on in its life cycle had Uncharted, Drake's Fortune.
Yeah.
But in terms of marketing, you try and put that up against Halo 3 and Gears of War.
That's true, yeah.
You know what I mean? It just isn't really going to sell. So it's not until Uncharted 2 and from then onward did the PS3 start getting like exclusive after exclusive after exclusive, like really good games, and we're going to mention a good few of them in this.
We are actually, we are.
But when that train took off after Uncharted 2.
Hey, the train! Don't even get me started on Uncharted 2.
Here all week, folks.
Yeah, fucking. There's going to be a whole episode down the line on Uncharted 2.
But
among the lads.
360s stopped. You know, there was no really great exclusives after, I suppose, Gears 2. You know, I guess
some more Halo games, right?
Yeah, but Halo was
exclusive
finished. Like, I know.
I thought you liked Halo Wars and all that stuff.
No, Halo Wars are good fun, but they're not like
critically.
They're not console sellers.
Put
it that way.
Well, they'd be just as much fun, I would say, as like Resistance: Fall of Man.
Oh, be careful, Adam.
You know what I mean? So it's
some hardcore Resistance: Fall of Man fans out there.
Well,
it's really you had to set the full title, like, Good
Resistance
good
Fall,
resistance.
Well, actually,
Good
I was
resistance
so much
fans there.
I was trying to
resistance.
say it slowly because I was like, I about to say the wrong thing. I was about to say Resistance Fall of Fan. That's
But it's mostly because with the Xbox they started like focusing things on like the Kinect and start pushing that heavy.
They did, yeah. That's
You know,
true.
like I know PlayStation did similar with the 3D and the Move,
Yeah.
but they still came out with game after game after game after game, while its Xbox were focusing really heavily on pretty much just like more Call of Duty maps and Kinect games.
Yeah.
So their big killer exclusives were gone at that point. Like, yes, they were coming out with new Halo games, but each Halo game and each Gears of War game felt like the way God of War Ascension was. Do you remember that one, which was like that on PS3?
You shut your mouth.
Well, like you can't really count. You wouldn't count that in the series of
No,
God
I
of War.
know. Yeah.
It's like
like Gears of War 4, for example, felt like a real side add-on. And
yeah,
all
it's
this
not. It
kind of
doesn't
stuff.
feel. It doesn't have the same impact and attention that the big headline exclusives got.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main reason. So for the first few years, Xbox 360 absolutely kicked the shit out of PS3.
Yeah.
But
And then
once PS3 did that rebrand with the slim model,
Swung around.
Uncharted 2,
Took it
then
back.
onwards,
Back on that.
yep, totally destroyed it. And they were kind of,
Bag.
you know, it was catching up big time with 360, but eventually outsold it.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you go.
History lesson with Adam McGuire.
May not be in the US, so like a lot of in the US, the Xbox 360 I think still outsold the PS3. But you know what? It's a bigger world out there than just the fucking United States.
Oh Jesus!
And worldwide,
Ooh.
PS3 outsold
Oh,
Xbox
no.
360.
Oh shit!
Yeah. And
That happened.
and we're still in the EU too, folks. But back to Skyrim.
Back to
Before
Skyrim.
we move on from it, because we get caught up talking about like the lore of it and everything, and I'm curious, what's your favorite town?
Wexford.
Because in Sky, like I get so caught up in just like whatever. About, like there's a lot of ways to do your combat. There's a lot of ways to upgrade your character. Like there's a lot of gameplay options, but just walking around the place is what makes me love it more than anything. Is just walking around and going, look at that river and listen to that music. Like it's just really captivating. Do you have a favorite town? Because I do. And I just.
I don't really. I mean,
I don't like maybe people don't connect with it that same
Whiterun.
way. Yeah, Whiterun. Have you got someone else?
Yeah, Whiterun, but then I kind of like Rorikstead.
Yeah, Rockstead's pretty cool.
there's
Rorikstead.
nothing in Rorikstead.
Nah, there is no. Nah, there is. Because first time I ever
There's
played.
2 houses.
Nah, my
there's-
tree.
There was a point I had by bringing this up, and it's that you can talk about Skyrim as if you've been there, as if it's a place you can go visit. It's like, no man, I like Rorikstead. It's like, there's nothing to do in Rorikstead. You know? It's like Whiterun. Oh, Whiterun, it's beautiful. If you haven't been to Whiterun, you need to go. You know, you can nearly. There needs to be a
Rorikstead-
TripAdvisor for Skyrim. Like,
So first of all, Rorikstead is the first town you ever hear of in Skyrim.
right.
But then when I was playing it,
Is that your man in the wagon is telling you he
Yeah.
was running away from Rorikstead? Or is he-
Yeah,
No, he's
yeah.
from Rorikstead.
He's from
From
Rorikstead.
Rorikstead.
But when I was first playing it, my character was Eric. E-R-I-K is the initial
Oh,
Norse
if you
way
like
of
connect
spelled.
with it, man.
Yeah, man.
So when I went-
Rorikstead.
Rorikstead.
So when I went to Rorikstead, there was a young man there called Eric who wanted to be an adventurer. So I got a little connection there.
So you're saying that's what makes Rorikstead a really good place for every gamer to go to?
No, well, you never asked for every other game.
Well, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Like normally it's going to be either White. But that is it. Whiterun.
Whiterun, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Whiterun,
like Rohan.
Windhelm,
Yeah.
or what's the other place called?
Which one?
Solitude?
Solitude.
Solitude's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
It's
I
generally
love-
going to be between those 3 because those are the 3 you can buy a house in.
That's right.
Yeah, but
so
then
you
when
And
can
if you
actually-
don't buy again, TripAdvisor and if you don't buy your property in Whiterun, you're really like you're making a mistake.
I can say
You
now,
are absolutely making a
I
mistake.
can say now, Whiterun is definitely the cheapest.
Yeah, the market's pretty good there.
and it's got a good view. Lots to do in Whiterun.
But that,
the bar is good.
Yeah.
But if you want luxury, right, nice big house, do what you want with it. Windhelm is the place to be. Bit cold, but if you're going to be in this house, nice. Huge stone walls. I think it's going to be a nice little homestead for you.
But that's the other crazy thing about Skyrim. Like even like with the DLCs now as well.
Yeah, I was about to bring up Heartfire.
Yeah, like so outside of the fantasy stuff, you can just go, well, screw the story.
Gonna live there.
I'm gonna buy a house. Gonna marry someone. I'm gonna have kids, and I'm gonna live my life.
No, you don't really have kids. You kind of just like go.
You adopt, right?
Yeah, you go up to a kid. Kid's like, hey, like the war took my parents. You want to be my dad? It's like, yeah, okay.
I think that's nice. That's kind of nicer though.
Yeah, because you killed the parents. And
yeah, probably
sorry.
did. Like, give it in the war.
Probably, that's why you were a prisoner.
What's fucking mad in Skyrim is the fact that you can only get married in one location. Like, I feel sorry for anyone who lives up in bloody Markarth. They have to travel all the way to Riften
There's a reason
just
that
to get
town
married.
is so miserable, man. There's TripAdvisor, don't go to Markarth. But yeah, I like
my favorite moment is like, and I remember saving it and saving it or putting it on Twitter, I think it was, and it was like, welcome to Markarth, the most peaceful town or something like that, and the minute you enter it, like someone gets stabbed.
that's right.
You're like,
yeah.
what
And you're like, holy shit, what have I just entered? And then if you go, there's another house that if you go into, and it's like a devil worshipper kind of shit. There's some oblivion side quest going on in one of the houses.
It's
really good, actually.
You go into a house and there's a
House of Horrors. Is that what it's called?
It's called House of Horrors. There's a man called. There's a guy from like the Vigil of Stendar, which deal with like killing vampires, werewolves, and Daedra and shit. But the house is haunted, and you actually get a Daedra quest there and everything.
I wanted to join the Vigil of Stendar.
They won't let you.
But
there's another thing is also in the Markarth. I haven't found it again ever since I was playing it. But one time I was just kind of messing around on one of the profiles, and if you go into the dungeons or the catacombs of Markarth, there's like a vampire living in there, and she's like raising all the dead and shit, and she's causing lots of trouble. So there you go.
Did you sort her out?
What?
Oh yeah, that time you did.
I suppose that goes to show, and like it's one of the other things why like I'll keep coming back to Skyrim is the last time I haven't played it in a while now, but the last time I played it, I was still finding shit that I hadn't found before. I keep finding new stuff.
Like that talking dog.
Yeah, but I haven't found that, but I've heard about it online. Like, there's a talking dog. What the fuck is that about? It's a god or something? Is it?
A Daedra quest.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Or
go to Falkreath, man.
There's some other Daedra quest about finding someone's relic or something, and I've never seen that even. Or
that's like all of them.
Yeah, that is all of them.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, well, one of them you can take to a person in... God, I can't remember the names of the places. Fuck, the mage...
Windhell? No, not Winterhold.
Winterhold. There's a person that you go to there with this artifact, and you can decide to either change it... I think it's Azure Star.
Yeah.
And you can change it into like being something that you can use... Or actually a useless item, or something that you can use as a weapon, but it's like... It maintains its evil. Like if you kill him, it maintains its evil or something like that. Or
if you kill him, it frees it from the evil. Like you go inside the star and kill the sorcerer inside.
Yeah, that's it.
And it frees it of his essence. But if
just thinking, if you've just skipped ahead to this part, you have a fucking clue what we're talking about.
And so the elf who knows everything about the Azura Star tells you not to give it back to Azura, and he does something with it or something, I don't know. But if you give it back to Azura, it becomes an infinite soul gem that can just keep taking keep taking souls.
It's a good item.
It is. No, it's actually
it's class.
The infinite soul gem is really good. But I suppose in summary, for me anyway, what made Skyrim the best game that year and one of the best games I think I've ever played. Like I would put it in my top 10.
It's up there in terms of game of the decade.
It is up there. Yeah, in a big way. Is that it feels like a lived-in world when you're exploring it, and it's a world with a history, it's a world with a culture. The music reflects the culture, the architecture reflects the culture. I remember like with the special edition, and a book came with it, and it was a really good special edition actually.
Oh, fantastic!
But even the book had all the art designs and extra lore and stuff, and it was like this is like a really well thought out. Like, and you can lose hours and hours into it. Like, it's so that's it for me, really. It's
fair play.
Yeah, it's like they created a real world, and I got to go there.
You can pick flowers in it. Like that's how detailed it is.
That's fucking nuts.
You can go up and just pick a flower and then just turn it into a potion
and drink it.
You can actually you can cook in the game.
You can steal someone's bread.
But you can straight up cook in the game, grab ingredients, and then make a meal.
Cook a meal, yeah.
It's you can all the things that like Breath of the Wild are being praised for. Like, I mean, Skyrim has touched on there.
Yeah, in fairness, yeah. You can sleep in someone's bed, and if it's not your own...
It depends.
If it's not your own, they'll just fight you over it.
Yeah.
No. If the bed says owned, you're not allowed to sleep in it.
Really?
Yeah, you go around, you slaughter all these people, you wipe out an entire species.
Yeah.
I have a conscience.
Yeah,
I can't sleep
like
in that bed.
My programmer just won't let me. I can pickpocket like
I just
women,
can't sleep if it's not my own bed.
If it's not my own bed, yeah, I
Can't
can't
get
put my head down. Yeah, I remember I could talk about Skyrim forever. Like I remember the Dark Brotherhood quest. Like I remember just going to bed and then waking up in a shack and like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's
You
cool.
know, like the side quests sometimes just take you away from what you were doing and launch you into another side quest, which is great.
Yeah, that's a nice way of like if you haven't explored that side of the map.
Yeah, it'll make
you're taken there, and then you have to.
Yeah, and it'll make you get around. And also, I appreciate the fast travel system.
Yes.
Like some fast travel systems are, I don't think they do it quite well. I do like that if you've found it, you can fast travel to it, and so you just click on it, and the loading screen will give you some cool lore, a really cool screenshot of something, and then
I can say though that the loading screens do get tiring,
especially if you open a door and realize it's not where you wanted to go, and then you open the door again to get back out, and you're like, "Fuck me, Hagravens look fucking ugly up close." Yeah.
You try that in VR. It's like,
like, Jesus, I didn't mean to open that door. It's killing the experience here.
I'm not gonna lie, they're terrifying. The spiders are terrifying in VR.
Well, I don't like spiders in any form. Full disclosure, folks.
Yeah.
I hate spiders. But yeah, I remember the first time playing the game, and when there were spiders in it, I was going, fuck off. I thought I was going to be free of spiders in this game because it's the north. Like, the fucking frostbite spider. Fuck off. Like, you're really just pushing a spider in there.
That can hit you at long distance.
Yeah, and you can hear them and you're just like, oh, fuck off. Yeah. But, in fairness, they do look pretty cool. And there's some cool caves when you go in. The webs do add to it. I think they make the place a bit creepier and a bit. So after a while, I warmed up to the spiders. I warmed up. But at first, I was like, why the fuck are the spiders here?
Least favourite enemy in the game?
Spiders. No, I'm only joking. I actually like them.
Least favourite enemy? I don't know.
Like as in every time you come across them, you're just like...
Oh, really?
Troll.
Because I was going to say the slaughterfish, because I never had to fight them, and I don't know why the hell they're put in there.
It's like, what is your point?
Yeah. I fucking hate enemies I never fight.
Yeah, like they have the slaughterfish. Yeah, and again, like in the book,
they're not frequent either. They're like in like a lake.
They're like in a lake. You're not able even to use your weapon in the water.
I have to be honest, they never bothered me. I was always okay with them.
I was going to say the Falmer. Like, the trolls are annoying.
I like the Falmer.
But they are unnecessarily tough.
They are quite tough, but I
like that they remind me of like Lord of the Rings when you go into Moria and all the goblins.
Yeah, but you're kind of
also remind me of that movie, The Descent, is it? Where the horror movie where like these people got trapped underground and over time
the time machine.
Time machine, but yeah, I love the way the Falmer look, and I like
it a lot. But it's like it's just a bit mad. It's like you have barely any armor on you, and this is not killing you. How is this not killing you?
Why is this game so unrealistic? But I can see why.
The jellyfish?
I like the Falmer for what they are. The only reason I don't like trolls is because I think they're unnecessarily hard.
Especially for like the beginning of the game, it's like, oh yeah, you have to climb up these like.
There's 5,000 steps.
There's 5,000 steps.
Yeah, and that's only to find out that you are a Dragonborn. So it's really the setup to the game. But it's like, and to get past these steps, here you go.
Here's a troll.
And he's fucking really hard. And you're not ready. You've no magic.
To call back to our first episode, there is a Wampa reference in Skyrim.
Is there?
Yeah. There's a cave where there's a frost troll.
Yeah.
And there's a skeleton stuck upside down.
Oh, yeah. I did remember seeing something like that.
I have never seen... See, this is what I'm talking about. Like,
and
you can
there's a sword frozen in ice on the ground.
That is class.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you there's loads of little like movie references. That's the other thing. Like, how the fuck did the development team... Because, like, who decides all the lore and stuff? And like the game is so huge,
Yeah, that's why I have to.
but the
give them,
history stays consistent.
Yeah, that's why I have to give them kind of leeway.
Like
for
they know their stuff.
How
like,
much of a broken game it is because
there's
so
the
much
pros
in it.
like well outweigh the cons.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Like the books. There's. Have you read any of those books?
Man, you can buy a house, read some books.
Yeah.
This is a fucking class
Well,
game.
Cook some food.
I remember modding
flowers.
the PS4 version to have a house, and you can have like this huge house that will already be jam packed with
Books and shit, yeah.
Yeah, like so,
Yeah, no, yeah.
every single book in the game is in your library, your personal library, and there's like sections where you can have like an armory. So there's a full armor set of every single.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I at one point treated Skyrim like my life away from life. Like I actually like I had a house, and if I was going to turn the game off for the night, I was like, I better go home. So I would go to the house to save and turn it off. It's like I've done a day's work. You know, I went out, killed some bandits, got some gold. Gonna go home, kiss the wife, go to bed, save and turn it off. Like, and then the next time I'm playing, I'm like, it's morning time to go out and do a quest. You know. Like that's the way I played the game for a while. Like I played it like I have to go home at the end of the day. That's where I live. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Class.
Skyrim.
You
Class
can
game.
cut firewood.
You can.
You can mine.
You can mine. Don't mine too much. You might get locked in prison
No.
forever.
What's bad is that was on one disc.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always. That's why I find it so weird now with games coming out on 2 discs.
But even like Mass Effect 2, which would have been on an Xbox 360 the year before it, was on 2 discs, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was on
The
disc.
360 version was.
Yeah, you had to. It was disc 1, go to disc 2, go back disc 1.
Yeah.
What
Whereas
was
I
that
think,
about?
but
Was that
Skyrim-
some side quests and stuff? Was it?
Disc 2 was like the second half of the game.
But how come you had to go back to disc 1?
Because they had the file for the suicide mission was on.
That's really silly.
The one that was on disc 1, yeah.
That's really.
Yeah.
That was a really weird way to lay that out.
It was.
Because surely when you move over to a disc, you should stay on that disc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Skyrim on the 360 was on one disc, which is the bigger game.
Well, I suppose you would think Skyrim is, but maybe Mass Effect 2 because of all the different
Worlds,
options
designs,
and
options.
the fact that.
Well, I think
don't know.
I think it's because the Skyrim doesn't have any cutscenes, like
Yeah, and spoken
videos
dialogue and
and
from the main
audio
character.
takes up so much,
yeah.
much. So they're very clever with how they reuse. They reuse a lot of assets, so they only have to load it up once,
Yeah.
and
You used to be an
then
adventurer like you.
just the dialogue as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's-
they
it's
reuse
just
dialogue.
the same person.
It's the same guy every time.
Like
The only voice actor who's like totally distinguished and you don't meet him again is John Malkovich. He wants to send you to Bleak Falls Sparrow.
what's his name?
I can't remember. I always think he said
Farengar.
Farngar. That's right. Yeah. You know, I just want
He's
to go to
got
Bleak Falls
some
Sparrow.
crazy chops.
He does.
Wow.
He has.
Do you ever see him? Like, well, you notice him better in VR because you can see like, people. But he's got his hood up, right? But he's got these huge sideburns that come like all the way down past his cheek. Like these big black sideburns. He looks like something out of like Grease.
The musical?
Or,
Yeah, the musical.
or the Foo Fighters Everlong music video.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah.
yeah, looks like that.
Class. They should actually call the VR version OR, like just other reality, because that's like Skyrim's just like a life away from life. It's class.
Well, I don't understand why they didn't just
unreal.
call it like instead of the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim VR. Why didn't they just call it the Elder Scrolls VR? So that way the V is the 5, and then Skyrim.
Oh, he's a genius. That's very good. Yeah. Someone should hire this guy. Bethesda, baby. That's very good. Yeah, they should have actually. So I think it's very understandable and kind of a no-brainer that Skyrim was everyone's favorite game that year. Were there any other games that came close even?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Of course it was.
Okay.
Do you want me to name them?
Yeah, of course I do. No, keep it a mystery. Next episode is 2011 Part 2. Are you suspensed yet? That's not a word.
What, suspensed?
Suspensed? Yeah, but you don't say, are you suspensed? You would say, are you in suspense? What games came close?
Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception.
Would that be number 2?
For me, yeah.
Okay.
It would be.
No, yeah, I'm not. That's fine.
You're wrong
Are
for
you telling the
choosing
truth?
that.
Spotlight. I mean, it's a great game. I'm not saying it's not. I'm only asking.
Yeah. I would.
I was disappointed by it.
Uncharted 3?
Yeah, I was so disappointed.
Your opinion doesn't matter. I mean, I love Uncharted 3. Mm-hmm. And I definitely loved it when I was playing it. But when I look back on the series as a whole...
It's your favourite?
It's my least favourite Uncharted game.
Yeah, you've never played Golden Abyss.
I am counting only 4 Uncharted games. There's a
like
little add-on
6.
called The Lost Legacy.
Oh, there's 7 then.
Golden Abyss. Or Nathan Drake Temple Run. Not counting that.
Jesus, there's 8 then.
But and then don't get me wrong, that's one of the best game series out there. So I'm not saying Uncharted 3 is by any stretch a bad game. It's a phenomenal game, actually. Yeah. Especially like the chateau sequence.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of my favorite in the series.
Yeah.
So
all of them are one of my favorite series. I just love
all 4 of them are the best in the series.
They fucking are, man. They're way better than Golden Abyss though.
Golden Abyss is not good.
No, but that's a whole different.
Yeah, no, I just love to, obviously with 2 being now they're 2 separate teams as far as I know. The people who made Uncharted 3 is not the same team. Well, it's half.
Some of them,
half of the team that did Uncharted 2.
Yeah, I think during Uncharted 3, some of them were starting to work on The Last of Us.
Yes, so they're doing the 2 simultaneously.
Yeah,
but they had the scope and scale of 2, which was good.
Oh yeah,
but the one thing that I didn't like about 2, and that's why I prefer 3 over 2.
Yeah,
is a good villain. Now Lazarevich is he's performed well.
He's great
by Graham McTavish. But it's not a personal villain for Drake.
Yeah, no, it's not. No.
And like with the first one, Drake's Fortune, it feels like a personal journey. And the fact that we start off Drake's Deception with kind of a run-in with like a past villain.
Yeah.
And we get a flashback sequence then with Drake as a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's more into Drake. It's a really personal adventure.
Oh yeah, it's a great
Among
character
Thieves
study.
to me always seems like a side quest, even though it's like the second game in the series. It always feels like a side adventure. It's actually like Nathan Drake just got caught up in the troubles again, whereas like Drake's Deception is an adventure that he wanted to do.
Yeah, I think Drake's Deception as well is definitely the best title in the series, possibly.
Yeah.
And I love the double play. Like I was thinking about it the other day as well, because my girlfriend was playing the first. She loves the Uncharted games. They're her favorite games. She's not into games, but she loves Uncharted. But she was playing Drake's Fortune again not that long ago, and it kind of dawned on me there finally the double meaning of the title. Like I always just assumed it's just Sir Francis Drake's Fortune, as opposed to
Nathan Drake's
luck. Like this is just my luck. Like the shit he gets into.
Yeah.
So then with Drake's Deception, but that one was obviously more obvious. The double title of Sir Francis Drake once lied, but then Drake himself is lying.
Yep.
And I thought when you get to that moment, it was a jaw drop moment, like realistically, because
we
took it for granted. What he was telling us was true for the last 3 games, and then suddenly you're like, I just never questioned it. I just thought he was an adventurer. I never questioned why he was called Han Solo, But in this case, it worked because it applied a backstory to a character who had none, essentially up to that point.
Yeah.
All we knew of him was that he was
I like that they
Drake's
did that
descendant.
because, like, obviously they went bigger, badder, bolder with the like kind of set pieces and explosions, which I don't think worked. Like some of them are good. Like the plane is good.
Plane is great.
Chateau is good. Boat, not great.
It's okay.
Like much.
There's some parts of it, like climbing up a sinking ship is cool.
Yeah.
But just that overall boat sequence is just.
I hated the whole ship graveyard, and I hated that
needed.
it was like a segue away from the main plot.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, I was really invested. Especially, I think that happens quite soon after we reveal Drake's deception.
Yes.
And suddenly
it is.
And then suddenly you're doing something and you're like, I have no interest in this.
Yeah, that bit, the whole section of the game should be removed from the game.
Yeah, but, I would agree with that.
Because it just slows the pace down. So the actual set pieces aren't necessarily topping the Among Thieves feeling.
Yeah.
Like the falling building in Among Thieves, I think is like a really great moment. Like you're actually shooting in a building that's like collapsing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So it's nice that they up the stakes in the story department because they were never going to match the set pieces of 2.
No, I suppose not. I suppose one of the things for me with Uncharted 3, and again, when I say this, I love the game and I love playing it. And I love the quote at the start. I think it's really good. The T. Lawrence one about dreams and stuff, which is like thematically does play into what the game is actually about. But I think timeline wise, it messes me around a little bit because so this is a thing he's wanted to do since he was a child. It goes back to when he was young.
Yeah.
And then for a couple of years, he's just tossing that aside. Like Uncharted 4, unfortunately, does it as well. It bothers me a bit in that it's great that there's something that meant a lot ever since he was a child, but at the same time, why is it that with Uncharted 1, the thing I was always looking for was to prove that I was Drake's descendant. Uncharted 2 feels like a very natural second adventure, like it's just a carry on, but it's not necessarily. I always thought Marco Polo was, but then this time around it's like I've been looking for this ever since I was a kid, and then I just forgot about it for years and years as I did stuff with Sully, and now I'm finally coming back to it. And then you get to the fourth one and it's like, this is something that I was always looking for since I was a kid with my brother, who I never mentioned. It's like adding on stuff that timeline wise I feel doesn't work. It kind of messes with the continuity just a little bit. It's like trying to retcon his past a little bit. But in saying that, it is really cool to give Drake a backstory like that. It is cool to kind of try and tie something back to his past a bit. But I would have been just as happy to see a flashback where Nate and Sully meet for the first time that doesn't tie into what they're looking for right now. Yeah, no, it would have worked either way. But like, even let's say it is an adventure that they want to do since he was a kid. Who's to say he doesn't have to? Like, he maybe had to do the Drake's Fortune adventure first. Yeah. Because that's literally where he ended up. He had to follow his footsteps back. Yeah. Anyway, so like it still ties in. That's where I think Among Thieves kind of chose it a bit. Yeah, because it's not now. It's like now we're back to Drake again. It's kind of as a result of a grand scheme, though. Like if you look back on, if I could take a movie reference, right, the Dark Knight trilogy. Mm-hmm. When you look back now, yeah, it's exactly that. Now the Dark Knight feels like, even though it would be people's favorite movie and like it would be the most liked movie in that trilogy. Yeah, it now feels out of place because the first and last one both deal with the League of Shadows. Yeah, and the well. And tie back to the well and all that kind of stuff. That, like the final movie calls back more to the first movie. And that's just a way of closing the chapter. But as a result, because there's no mention of the Joker at all, and I know it was done out of respect, but because there's absolutely no mention or no kind of fallback to, because even they talk about Two-Face, but they do not talk about Joker at all. It's strangely, when you go back and look at it as a trilogy, he feels like an add-on, or feels like here's a Batman adventure. And it's so I suppose it's as a result of the series now. If you look back, Uncharted 2 feels like an add-on, whereas at the time it just felt like a bigger sequel. Like it felt like a bigger version of the first formula. Yeah, but I was always amazed that I remember seeing the open sequence to Uncharted 3 and being blown away by that they've actually improved the graphics. Oh yeah, the graphics are fantastic. How do they do that? Because the 2 seemed as though they topped all the power of the PS3, and then 3 comes out and it looks even better. I don't know how Naughty Dog do it with their graphics.
Sound effects in it were fantastic as well.
Yeah, and then the overall gameplay, I preferred the gameplay to 3 just because you could do a lot more. Like you could throw back grenades. I love that. Yeah, I loved even when he's fighting people and he pulls the pin off of someone and then kicks them away from himself. And they'll explode then. So I just feel like
the combat.
The combat, I think, played better. You could do a lot more with it.
Yeah.
Which really opened up, and I think this is where 3 really shined over 2 was the multiplayer. The multiplayer in 2 felt like it was fun, but it felt like we have to do multiplayer because
There's multiplayer in 2?
Yeah.
There is, isn't it? Yeah. I think so, yeah. No, I'm pretty sure
Was that
no, that's only in 3, but you can go back to maps in 2.
It was only in 3.
Was it?
Yeah, because you can go back to like Tenzin's village and stuff. What did you think of the supernatural element?
See, that's the thing. One of the reasons why Uncharted 3 disappointed me was by the time it got to Umbar, and by the time the supernatural was introduced, they lost me, and I got disappointed. And there was that really big moment that obviously happened just before all the supernatural came along, and I didn't even care.
I've noticed, like we did on the last episode, we're dancing around the spoilers. Do we need to dance around the spoilers for these games?
Nah.
I'm not sure we do. Right.
So when they shoot Sully, when they shoot Sully, and,
you're like,
you think he's dead,
right? Yeah.
I didn't care for some reason, and I don't like Sully. It's fucking Sully.
Yeah, there was multiplayer.
You sick bastard.
In Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't remember.
Was that added in though when they did the Nathan Drake collection?
No.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I don't know.
There was always multiplayer, but like they definitely improved it in 3, like big time. Like
Really, no, I remember playing it in 3. Yeah.
I think they relied too much on fist fighting in 3. Did they greatly
in general,
improved?
they had
in general, there was quite a lot of
kind of the enemy that's just a big dude.
Yeah, that big ball guy.
Yeah.
Which wasn't fun.
Or even just sometimes enemies they had their shotguns or machine guns and they'd come right up to you just so they could fist fight you.
The big guy
because
like,
they improved the fist fighting so much. Like
the big guy looked like Agent 47, but like with the Donut Drake filter on him. That's what he looked like. Did you like the supernatural element?
Yeah, I did.
Because it's always a big talking point. Again, some people hate that there's supernatural elements in the games at all. I always look forward to it. I always feel like it's something to like. Oh, I wonder what the creature is going to be. I'm always like talking about it or.
Yeah, I thought it was cleverly done in 3 because they were like.
I did too. I thought thematically
it's not actually there.
It's not there. Yeah.
But yes, I think that would play better though if you weren't fighting
people who are using.
Yeah, you were just fighting the enemies and you shoot them and their head explodes and it's all fire and they look like Ghost Rider. If they actually just had.
Well, the problem
some Arabic looking djinn
the problem with 2 and 3, I think, is that you don't actually like. It's supposed to be Uncharted, and you don't have enough time in that Uncharted place.
Yeah, I think you're spending the whole game looking for the Uncharted place.
And you get there for like 1 or 2 missions, and then you're gone.
Yeah,
the place.
I suppose that's the only thing where 3, at the end of 3, in terms of its structure, feels like a rehash of 2.
Yes.
Yeah, like they add in Salim, and he's not as iconic as Tenzin. He doesn't.
Yeah,
really
he's kind of like another Tenzin, and then
you're riding on the horse and you go and shoot a convoy.
Yeah, like you should have had like instead of that whole
the convoy thing. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it.
I liked the convoy.
Like no, don't get me wrong. I thought it was cool to be on the horse, and I thought it was like a cool callback to like the Indiana Jones Last Crusade sequence,
or even Rambo
3. Yeah, but it was like it's like we did have a convoy scene, and a shame if this one is a better idea for a convoy scene, having horses and stuff. But we did have one, so it's like.
But I would have liked if they cut out the entire boat sequence and give us
definitely
more time in Umbar.
More time in Umbar with
Ubar, lads.
Ubar. Sorry, Ubar. There's no M.
There's no.
The Pillar of Serpents.
It's not called Umbar. Pillar of Serpents. The Atlantis of the Sands, lads. Ash never remembers that one. She's always. So when she's playing
Umbar is from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But she's always because I always go, "What's your favorite one?" And she goes, "I don't know. I like them all." And I was like, "But what's your favorite one?" And she, because she says she mixes them up.
Yeah.
Because she played the Nathan Drake collection, so it was just like a game after game after game. So but whenever I go, "Well, did you like Drake's Deception? Which one is that one?" The one with Ubar. What the fuck is that? Right, so I think everyone feels that way. It's like I can remember Shambhala, I can remember El Dorado.
There was too many.
Too many names for it.
Yeah, there was.
Pillars of Aram was another one.
Yeah, Pillar of Aram. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The 7 pillars of Aram.
That's
Islamic.
And you all be cool to see a city built on 7 pillars. There was no pillars in the entire city.
There was like 3.
There was
there was like 3 pillars. But I think for me the and then we'll move on to another game actually because between Skyrim and Drake's Deception we're fucking here.
It's a pretty good game.
It is a really good game. But I think the supernatural element. The bit that bothered me was the spiders. I'm back to spiders, folks. This episode should be called Spiders.
Why they suck.
Yeah, why they suck. And only because when I saw them first, I was like, that is a cool idea for a creature. Like these fucked up swarms of spiders that are chasing you. I was like, that's scary. And it's a non-humanoid threat. And I was like, so it really differs from the other two. But by the time you get to the end of it, it is not explained at all. Full disclosure. If you go to play that game and you're wondering what the fuck is up with the spiders, they don't tell you anything about what this crack with spiders is, why they're in the temples, why they chase you if you go near them. You get to the end of the game and they have nothing to do with the djinn. So like when you get to the end and you get the reason as for why the djinn are there, and you're like, that is a really fucking cool
a lot of
take on it.
Yeah.
You're still going, but what was it, the spiders? And the spiders were real because everyone could see them. And
there's a lot of fans that try and fill in the gaps.
I just feel like the plot for that one was a little bit messy, and they didn't know the answers to the questions they were bringing up.
Loads of stuff in that game isn't explained.
Oh yeah, the magic bad guys.
The magic bad guys.
I thought it was really cool to have like a Spectre style evil organization,
but then they're not brought back.
They're not actually explained.
So again, that's why I was very disappointed.
Helen Mirren was a great villain.
Talbot's
awesome. I love Talbot, and I love the.
But Talbot was just Flynn in a suit and slightly darker hair.
He did look too similar to Flynn. Yeah, I will give you that. Yeah. But I like him as a character.
But I'm pretty sure it's Tenzin though in terms of the voice actor. I think.
Is it?
Or not voice actor. Huh? I think there was 2 actors who played Tenzin. Like I think there's one who did like the most.
You're confusing the shit out of me. I think that's actually you say it looks like Flynn, but actually it's Tenzin.
I think it was Robin Atkin-Downs who played. Talbot.
But he's in everything.
He is in everything. You don't even have to IMDb.
He's quite.
You pick up a video game and Robin Atkin-Downs is in there somewhere.
It's fair. It's quite unfortunate for him. He's in every game, and like no one really knows who he is. Which is quite unfortunate.
He doesn't get a lot of.
No, he doesn't get a lot of praise.
I think
he's reserved,
he doesn't
though.
often get the lead role, and people, I suppose, often talk about the lead role. He's often a supporting character or a villain or something in a game. I don't think he's.
But in fairness, when you come across a supporting actor who's doing a really good job of doing a voice, it's Robin Atkin-Downs.
Yeah.
Well, Robin Atkin-Downs is actually in Frozen 2.
Can you say his name without saying the full name? If you just go Robin, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, if I say Robin, you think about Batman. You see a Batman.
You know Robin Atkin-Downs.
But I'm pretty sure he's in.
Robin Atkin-Downs there. Hi, Robin Atkin-Downs.
I think though, like discounting the Lost Legacy, he's in every Uncharted game.
All right, cool. Yeah,
for sure. You can.
But Naughty Dog like to give work to the to the same people over and over.
But sure, so is Nolan North.
That's ridiculous. Emily Rose, like.
But most voice actors, you'd actually say the full name. Or even most actors, celebrities, say the full name.
Only a joke.
I'm just saying, man.
Calm down.
Like, you're not just going to say Nolan. You're saying Nolan North.
Yeah. Eric, was Drake's Deception your number 2 that year?
No, it was not. No.
Okay, what was your number?
Infinity Blade 2 was actually my...
Is it really?
It's my number 2.
Because I saw your list and I didn't think it was in order. Is Infinity Blade 2 really your number 2?
Yeah, that would really be my number 2.
I don't even know what that game is. And that's fine, that's great. What is that? Not like a
it's an mobile iOS
you
game.
On your phone, you swipe.
Oh, I played that and fell in love with it, and I was like, that was better than Drake's Deception.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately,
we're out of time.
So we can't hear what.
We can't hear what he has to say.
No, if anyone wanted to play that game, you can't.
Really?
Yeah, it's gone.
It's like PT. So we just have to count on Eric's account.
Eric will have to describe this.
I can't
really
No,
well.
you can look it up. There's videos of it. Yeah.
But I mean, I can't play it. Like.
No, you can't play it.
So describe it to us, Eric.
What's it like?
Okay, so it's like Skyrim on your phone.
It's definitely not like that.
It's like Skyrim on your phone, man.
It's definitely not like that.
It's
it's not an open world game. Is
no.
Is it a one-on?
It's always every enemy's a boss.
Fighting?
It's a one-on-one. Every enemy's a boss. You gotta tap the old screen to do the dodging and you gotta do swiping for the attacking and everything, right?
Do the dodging and the attacking.
But it was based in a fantasy world where you play as a guy called Cirrus, voiced by Troy Baker.
Wow. Is he? You actually know your shit about
this game. It's voiced by Troy Baker, right?
You really like this game. You're not fucking around.
Oh, wait. Wait till I get to the third one.
I kind of thought you were fucking around.
No.
Okay, go
right?
on.
Laura Bailey is also
Have
in
you
it.
read the
plays,
book?
Oh, no, I've never read the book. There's a book.
Yeah.
There's a fucking book, Chris.
Wow. Did the book get cancelled? Can you still get that?
I can still get the book. Yeah.
Alright.
But yeah, it's set in a fantasy world where I think your character is deathless, which are supposed to be like these overlords that once ruled and terrorized the world. And like you fight against monsters, you fight against robots, and like kind of like Skyrim, fight monsters and fight robots.
It's exactly like Skyrim, man. What are you talking about?
Like Snake Man.
And is the appeal that because
Laura Bailey's in it as well.
Is that the
She's
appeal?
famous voice actor.
no, but is the appeal that you weren't expecting much? So when you get a lot of lore, you're like, this is way more epic than I expected from a Swiper game. Is that
like,
the?
It's so it's based after the first one. You have the Infinity Blade after killing the God King, who turns out not to be dead. He gets back up and kills
Wow.
you.
Twist.
And so you have to go to this ancient temple citadel structure where inside is locked a guy called a Worker of Secrets, because he's someone who can help you figure out or hide the
That sounds pretty
Infinity
badass.
Blade, because that's what all the Deathless want, because it's the
Yeah.
most powerful weapon. And yeah, it's great that it's kind of like, it's what got me even into Dark Souls, because it's quite similar on the fact that
Wow.
to progress, you kind of have to die. Like, so because
If you die, your character's XP carries on to the next.
yeah, your character's XP, his money, his gear
Yeah,
carries
it's kind
on
of
to
like
the next.
the Rogue Legacy game.
Am I right that in continuity, if your character dies, they have actually died, and the new character you're playing as is actually their
No, that was
In the
the
first
first one. In
one.
the second one, you're actually reborn.
Oh, okay.
That's what makes you deathless, you see. You're actually reborn. You're
All
playing
right.
the
Okay.
same
So every
character
time
the
you
whole
die,
time.
your character actually does come back.
Yeah, he does come back, yeah.
Okay.
So then you fight more, get more XP. That way you can get past that boss that originally killed you.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is like it's an RPG in that regard,
Yeah.
in terms of the stats and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot like Dark Souls in that regard.
Yeah.
And the
Is it
swipe-
more like Dark Souls than it is like Skyrim?
It's definitely more like Dark Souls than it is like
fair
Skyrim.
enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, you
But
can't build a house
It
in
became like an arcade machine.
Well, you see, that's the way I sort of saw it. I kind of saw it as like a lunch break. Here, I'll do a few rounds of Infinity Blade.
Oh, it's definitely
But
that.
you're actually into the story and the lore of it, like in a big
Yeah.
way.
They were going to make a kind of look down kind of game, weren't
On
they?
RTS.
No, yeah,
Not RTS,
a
it's
dungeon
like
crawler, like
dungeon crawler.
Diablo.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually remember buying the iPad 3 at the time,
Yeah.
purely for that game.
Yeah, and then it didn't come out.
All right. So
And it
hold
didn't
on.
come out.
You say nothing then. So you like the game as well?
I did enjoy
Like,
the game.
I bought basically a console for it.
Well, I remember it was because I was going to get an iPad, and it was like between the 2 and the 3. Like I could get the cheaper iPad 2, or I could get the newer iPad 3. Now
And
this
get
is,
that Infinity Blade game I'm dying for.
and they were kind of demonstrating on the launch of that iPad this game, that was going to be using like the new GPU, because like the iPad 3 and 2 were pretty much exactly the same thing. It's just that the 3 had like double the GPU. That's the difference. So I was like, yeah, like I would prefer to get that, and then at least I'd have that game to look forward to.
Yeah.
And it never launched.
Oh,
Never launched.
Never launched.
shocker.
Because that actually did look cool. It was supposed to be about
The making of the Infinity Blade
Yeah.
itself.
So it was supposed to be a prequel to the games.
Wow.
I think you played as the God King,
Yeah.
whose name is Radriar.
This is class. But then you do get really into the lore of stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah,
If something
yeah.
has a rich lore, it's like that I'm in. This is it.
Because it's I think it was the Worker of Secrets himself who made the actual sword.
Cool.
But what was impressive about those games was just that, like, I mean, if they were to release now, you'd be like,
Oh,
Like-
what are you talking about? I'd fucking buy the shit out of it on release on console. I think it'd be class on console. Now, you'd have to update the gameplay
everything
a bit.
about it, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it'd be really cool if they had a game
The
where...
world of it, I suppose you'd want, is it?
Yeah, well, you can't exactly have the whole, swiping on the screen, like, 'cause otherwise you're just touching your TV.
Well,
But-
yeah, no, I got that.
But, like, you know, like the...
Dude,
like,
what are you doing?
Anyway, but
I
the
just
idea of
noticed
like
every
each
time we make a,
boss.
Sorry, but every
the-
time we make a physical joke,
No one's
we
gonna
can
see it.
laugh.
Yeah, I
Nobody
was
can see
actually
it.
swiping
So
my
you were
finger.
there,
Yeah,
And
making
just
noise.
to describe, woo, was Eric swiping his finger
Yeah.
across.
That's exactly that. But yeah, it'd be cool to also, because I know one of the Prince of Persia with Nolan North in it. Like every fight was a boss fight, which was a really cool idea.
It was a cool idea.
So you could bring that onto consoles.
Yeah, no, you'd have to obviously you can take the world and the lore and change it over, but if the game that was then launched now, it just wouldn't hold up. But what made it impressive was that it ran on your phone.
Yeah,
there was no other game out there that that looked like that. Like that
it was
had
Unreal
those
Engine, so
type
everyone
of,
had huge feet.
It was unreal.
It was actually unreal.
It was unreal, man.
I love Unreal Engine because every time something's on it, or if it just comes up at the start of a game, it's like unreal. And actually, it does come up at the start of my number 2 game. Pretty sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, Batman Arkham City.
Is that your number 2?
Hell yeah, is that my number 2?
Okay.
I fucking loved that game. I lost sleep over thinking about that game.
I think
before
more
it was
people
out.
would like that over.
You're fucking shocked. You played that game over Infinity Blade 2. Like Infinity Blade 2 was fucking game of the year, son. If Skyrim wasn't out that year, Infinity Blade 2 would have fucking crippled Arkham City and Drake's Deception. Like.
Yeah, it would have.
I remember because I loved Arkham Asylum, and I always liked Batman, but Arkham Asylum got me hardcore into Batman. Like that game is because I got the special edition and it came with a little booklet with all these villains that I'd never heard of because I was used to say, like Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher movies and then the Paul Dini cartoons. There was villains that were fucked up that I'd never heard of before, and suddenly I was like, these are so interesting, like these characters are so interesting. So when Arkham City was coming out, I remember like literally every night looking up Batman Arkham City and then changing the search tools to today to see was there any new news. And I could not stop myself, and part of me was like, no, don't spoil it on yourself. But I could not stop myself from wanting. I know. I was like, I wonder who else is in it, and are there any screenshots? And because I loved the designs of the characters from the first one. So even when they said we're doing the Penguin, I was like, what does the Arkham Penguin look like? Or like, what does the Arkham Two-Face look like? And they were bringing in all the villains that were kind of missing from the first game that you wanted to see, or like seeing the Riddler physically.
Yeah,
I was so invested in the actual seeing the characters and what way they were going to portray the characters and how dark the game is. I think most people would say it's the best superhero game made.
Probably.
It's up there in terms of... I'm not sure if... I don't know how... Because I kind of like... I'm a bit biased. I love Batman. And I did my thesis on Batman. It's a bit... But Arkham City ended up in my thesis, actually, because I love the... I mean, the gameplay is solid.
Yeah.
The gameplay is solid. Rocksteady fucking nailed Batman in terms of, a mixture between figuring out puzzles with your gadgets or your detective skills, doing your stealth takedowns on large groups of armed forces, and then that actual combat with large groups, the hand-to-hand combat. Like, they nailed that. And the amount of games that they copied that that tried to do that formula, as a result, was just a testament to the fact that they nailed hand-to-hand combat. But I think the thing the game does the best is its writing. The writing on that game is phenomenal.
Yeah, it definitely has one of the best twists. One of the best twists in the video game. The
Joker in that game.
That is.
I personally think whatever about live screen versions of the Joker and animated versions of the Joker, and there've been some fantastic Joker performances. And let's be honest, Joker is the best villain ever. But I think the Arkham portrayal of the Joker is the definitive Joker. For me.
Yeah.
The way they portray him. Mark Hamill's portrayal of him without having to stay PG.
Yeah.
Like, dark, comical. Like, you laugh at him as much as you're afraid of him. He's like, you don't know what he's going to do, but at the same time, he's your favourite character. You love when he's on screen. He makes a Lost joke.
He does make a Lost
joke. In Arkham City, it's like if you haven't seen Lost, you won't get it. But he makes loads of really good deep cut jokes. But when he's ringing you, so obviously Batman wouldn't answer the calls, but you keep getting missed calls and voice messages from the Joker throughout the game, and it just adds this little the relationship that the Arkham games do between Batman and Joker, which is really the centerpiece of what those games are about. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't good though, Chris.
No,
Wasn't
no,
it?
it was.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
It was. I do have annoyances with that game, but
I do too. Yeah,
it was a really great game. I played it recently enough,
Oh yeah.
and one thing that's really noticeable is how frequent Troy Baker and Nolan North are in that game.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Who else does Tribeca do? I knew he did Two-Face, but
He does Two-Face.
Yeah.
He does Robin.
oh, is that him? Is that?
Yeah. He does, like, I don't know, Tug 2 and Tug 15 and Tug fucking... Like, there's... Like, even in the Two-Face fight,
Oh right, yeah.
there's a bunch of those tugs that is just Troy Baker and Nolan North.
Get him! All those kind of guys.
Yeah. Like, it's really, really obvious.
That's
as well.
hilarious.
I love the line. It's the freaking bat.
The freaking bat.
Yeah, every time that comes up, and they're so fucking surprised, and it's like.
It's like you were just beating the shit out of the civilian. Obviously, they're going to show up.
It's like you live in Gotham and Batman has been there for like the last 10 years. Like, he's not. Yeah, there's sometimes they have talk that doesn't make sense, or like people are like, "Hey, I heard the Bath is a myth," and it's like he's fucking clearly not. He probably locked you up.
Yeah.
But I
Like,
like
it absolutely deserves to be up there in like best game of that year because
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean the hype around it as well.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
And it was a phenomenal game.
I think they were very clever with the setting, in that they were like, right, we need to open this up. Like, I think it's very clear Rocksteady had a plan, because they were like, we need to, and well, actually, if you play Arkham Asylum,
they
there's a
did have
secret
to have
room
a
that
plan.
has the Arkham City plan. But like, conceptually, it's an interesting idea in that they tried to quarantine crime from the rest of Gotham.
Yeah.
Like, that's, so it's not just, oh, we wanted some bullshit excuse to section off part of Gotham because we didn't want to give you all of Gotham yet because we're saving all of Gotham for a third game, right? Because they were like, if we give you all of Gotham, where do we go from there? Like, that's the corner you write
Gotham
yourself into.
Earth.
So you do Arkham Asylum, and then they came up with this really interesting, like, concentration camp prison setting thing.
Yeah.
With like the Hugo Strange and his private military are like the Nazis, and it's just this really interesting fascist political thing going on. Like, I thought the setting was really, the more you think about it, it's actually better the more you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
they give it to you one way, but if you actually say it out loud, you're like, that's even fucking cooler than what I saw. You know, like it's even darker. And then like they're letting the gangs just have gang wars because they're like, who cares? Let's put all the prisoners behind walls
And let them do their thing.
and let them kill each other, and let them steal, and let them pillage, and who cares? But then the scary thing, I suppose, was anyone who's talking out against Arkham City, it's like, you're a political prisoner, you're getting thrown in with the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, this is weird, because now
And the overall, like,
there's a propaganda thing going on.
mastermind behind the whole plot as well. Like, that.
It makes it fit.
It's perfect. It's really, really, really well. Like, I would love to. I loved that side of Gotham.
Yeah.
Like going down Crime Alley, seeing the
That
fucking,
moment is really nice, yeah.
like the original GCPD. Going, like, you can go
And how
around.
grimy it all is.
Yeah, and like the cinema and the Ace Chemicals, all that kind of thing. It's just it feels a lot like the Tim Burton-y kind of Batman era.
Yeah, and it's clear that they're more into that and like the animated series and those kind of versions of Batman.
The Wonder City, I
was awesome.
absolutely loved Wonder City, and I didn't realize it was so well designed and constructed, and it felt so DC. Like, it looked like something out of like Superman or something.
Yeah, it's like that City of Tomorrow kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or do you remember in the Batman Mask of the Phantasm movie?
Yeah.
There's that theme park that they go to, and it's like, this is what tomorrow will look like.
Yeah, it looks like
but it's
that
those
shit.
kind of Fallout style robots nearly, or it's like retro.
Like, it was so
Yeah.
perfectly constructed that I didn't realize that was made up for the game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it fits right in with the world, but it's also it's fascinating that you find it. It's the secret underground thing, but this is the vision.
But it has
for
like
what someone is planning to like. If we level Gotham, we can build this.
Yeah. Like, it has a
Essentially.
Bioshock Rapture feel to it.
It does, yeah.
That I kind of wish there was more exploration around that
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
It would have been really cool.
I liked hearing because at the time you don't know it yet. It's only when you hear him speak later on, because it's not actually said whose voice it is. But you're hearing Ra's al Ghul's voice saying "Welcome to Wonder City" and all this. And it's just really
like, I would have preferred more of that
fascinating.
rather than The one area I hate in
Is it the big penguin side quest?
Well, the penguin side quest I absolutely hate. I hated
Going after those communication towers
yes,
is bullshit.
The first time doing it, I hated it, and every time I replay the game, I hate it.
Oh, here we go again. Yeah.
But the entire Joker facility, I can't stand that area. The industrial area,
yeah.
the Sionis
Mill,
Industries,
yeah.
Like I hate the map layout. I hate like just literally everything about like how big it is as well. Like that takes up like a huge chunk of the map.
It's a massive chunk, yeah.
And you could explore.
I think
more of
the strange thing about the first time you play Arkham City, you're like, "Wow, this map is huge," but when you revisit it, you realize it's not as big as you first thought it was.
Yeah, because most of the map is flooded, or there's a big chunk of the
That's a good point, because most of the map is not even there.
big chunk of the map is
much,
flooded.
like I mean, you can't run from one side to the other. Like you can't do it. You have to glide.
You do. The gliding is great.
The gliding is amazing, but it does kind of section it off to like, okay, you have this section, that section, and then another section. Like so, it's really just 3 sections rather than like a big map.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I think.
But then again, most kind of open world games do that.
Well, it's not open world, is he? And I wouldn't classify it as open world. It's a big map, but it's not an open world.
Would you think it's more like a sandbox kind of thing?
Well, it's like Arkham Asylum. It's just bigger. Like
Bigger
Arkham
map,
Asylum is not open world. It's just it'd be like the Tomb Raider game, or even like Uncharted 4 to some degree.
Open linear kind of type idea.
No, it's like Metal Gear Solid 1. You wouldn't call that open world.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough.
It's a single facility that you can revisit. As like if even
you can go back to certain locations. And you have to get.
You can go back to any of the rooms
Yeah.
that you want, and I suppose they kind of call that. The term I think is called Metroidvania.
I was about to say that because even in the Arkham games, you have to get certain gadgets in order to get to certain things, and that's a Metroidvania kind of.
And it's actually one of my favorite types of games.
Yeah. No, I like
the
them
game is laid out like that. That's my favorite type of game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like even I suppose like the dungeons in Legend of Zelda are laid out that way, kind of.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
But I wouldn't call it open world.
Okay,
fair enough. I think they probably, when they were making it, their thinking was
Arkham Knight is definitely open world.
Yes,
which is where I think that game is like falls short, like in terms of quality in comparison.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, in comparison to Arkham
there.
Asylum and City, I think that's where it falls off. Is that it decides to be too big for what I think what made Asylum and City nice, and I think City is a little too big as well. I think it needed to be. It didn't need to be as big as it is.
Yeah, okay.
The Riddler, the riddles, right? So
there are far too many in City.
It's not that there are too many. It's just that
I think there's too many.
It's just that it's like, oh yeah, here's this fucking riddle, right? And you have to kind of go, all right, so I have to find some obscure thing somewhere in this possible location that kind of matches it. And it's not I don't think it's as clever as it is in Asylum.
No, I think the riddles were done their best in Asylum.
Yeah.
I love the riddles that are phrases that you have to scan something to say I've solved it.
Yeah.
I'm fucking not a fan of the trophies.
Or the challenges and stuff? No.
Yeah, that kind of shit to try and earn. Because you're like, I can see it. I just fucking can't get it. Right? And you're like... Because I thought they did the Riddler side story in City really well. The whole taking hostages. And you have to solve puzzles to save them.
Yeah.
But getting to those puzzles is a pain in the ass. Because... you have to solve riddles before they tell you the location of the next hostage. And I did want to I just want to save the hostages. I don't want to collect the trophy. I want to save hostages. Because
I really
that's all kind of fucking...
Victor Zaz's story.
Yeah, the phone
City.
call thing. Yeah.
You know what? Every side quest in that game are done so well.
They're
like
really good.
You really want more of them. Like I want to take on Zaz again.
They kind of end too soon, yeah.
Yeah, they're over. But it's balanced so well with like Batman would absolutely stop what he's doing right now to stop that.
Yeah. It's like
and
he's talking about killing someone
abruptly.
right now. I have to go. Yeah. Whatever. If I'm dying of poison, I gotta. I gotta go do with that.
The Mad Hatter is fantastic.
The Mad Hatter was really well placed. I thought he was done really well.
That's good. I think the Azrael one is the only one that's like not great.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that's like you can look for them if you want.
It's a really cool design.
You can kind of forget about them. The only thing is, I suppose the Azrael one is what that little mini room in the first game was, which is Azrael's... At the end of Azrael's quest, he's the clue for the next game. he hints the next game.
Oh, I get you. All right.
That's
That's
the whole point of you don't get anything else from Azrael except for a slight kind of hint or possibility at the next game. That and one other thing, which they were raging people found so early, which is the ship. There's a boat that if you go on, and it doesn't have a little monitor thing, but if you take out your little scanner, you can hack it, open it up,
Scarecrow's
and find
mask.
Scarecrow. No. You see Scarecrow's mask up on some other, like on top of a rail or something like that.
All right.
But this is a boat. You go in, and there's a guy, and it goes into first person, and he freaks out from Scarecrow like gas, and there's cockroaches everywhere. And
where's that boat?
That boat is in the river, and they didn't want. Have you never seen this?
No.
Right. So loads of people, like I found it. Loads of people found it, and they did not want anyone to find that because when they were talking about Arkham Knight, they were like, "Yeah, we were always hoping that at this point we could tell people we've had a clue all along that's actually hidden in Arkham City to now tell people to go find it."
They are very silly.
But people found it.
Like that should have been like if they don't want anyone to know.
No, but I don't mind it because I like that it was there all along. Because if they did it as a DLC, people would think that's just an add-on. Like you just now decided that it was planned all along. Whereas this is proof that it was planned all along.
Yeah, but I think that's actually I think that would be a good idea if game developers are marketing a new game.
Yeah.
Launch a DLC that kind of is a playable advertisement. Right, that kind of like maybe hints towards or has some sort of connection.
Yeah, like a playable teaser. You know?
But gets you gets you back into that world and gets you back playing and excited for the next game.
Yeah.
But that's very naive considering people were able to hack a demo that was never released.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh Jesus! Yeah. Oh my God.
That is very. Yeah, it's so obvious that someone would have figured that out.
No, of course they would. I think they're kind of happier that people did. To be honest, I don't think they're like raging about it, but they did kind of
cool
want
that they had it, like,
to be able to say that. So in each game, they always had a hint towards the next one, which is why a lot of people assume that Rocksteady are working on Superman next, because there was a Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah,
cameo in Arkham Knight and loads of talk of Superman.
Yeah.
Maybe Superman. Well, maybe it's another Batman game and Superman's the villain.
For it.
Oh, stop, man!
Well, that's a boss
Superman.
fight I would love because let's face, like one of the things that Arkham games do well is their boss fights.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our games of 2011. Skyrim was our number one, kind of across the board. We were able to. We probably could have kept talking about that for the whole episode, really.
Skyrim,
Drake's Deception, Arkham City, and most importantly, let's not forget Infinity Blade 2.
No.
Lads, if you haven't played it,
you can't.
tough luck. You can't. You can't play it. But the other games, I mean, you can play Uncharted 3 even on PS4 now because it's on the Nathan Drake collection.
It's actually on PS Plus, right?
It's on PS Plus right now, so you can get it. And
actually, by the time this goes live, maybe not.
Yeah. Oh yeah, actually, by the time it goes up, yep. You might have missed it, folks. And then Arkham City is on Return to Arkham, which was brought to the PS4.
Yeah, that was brought to PS4.
And also, it's
on
the
Xbox
Arkham
Game
Collection.
Pass.
It's on the Xbox Game Pass.
If you haven't played them, they're all considered some of the.
Of course, Skyrim's on everything.
Skyrim's on everything. You can
Skyrim's on everything.
I'm pretty sure you can get Skyrim on
Alexa
Amazon Alexa. Yeah.
It probably Skyrim got to the point where they started making like joke trailers about.
That was one of them, and I think they actually did it. I think it is on Alexa.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, is it actually?
I think so.
Because I know they had Michael Keaton Keys do the actual ad.
Oh my God. But yeah, so those were our games for 2011. I wonder if everyone else feels the same way, or is there some game that we haven't talked about that someone's like, "You fucking idiots, man! This game was way better."
Well, there was a lot of games that year.
There was a lot of games that year. But for me, those I
they
didn't
were
struggle.
all good.
Yeah, it was a good year for games. Not every year was, but
it was a tire. It was a tire.
It was a tire for games.
That's what it was.
If you get that joke. Here we go again. Thank you very much for listening. Next time we'll be talking about our games for 2012. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We should have done this straight after lunch. So, one of the things I probably noticed as we're talking, other than the fact that
exploding with laughter. Deep breath, people. Deep breaths.